Here we go. Another night, Philly Bets, episode 7, bringing it to you live from my basement in the Drumheller household. I'm Dave Gleckner. Can't wait to rip through the next few minutes, 20, 30 minutes here with my man, ex-Drumheller, known from Yahoo Sports, the Gambler, and of course, betting for breakfast. And here with Heat Ratio. What's up, bud? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Really getting into the swing of football season now. We're almost at the midway mark. So, a lot going on with the Eagles. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about, tonight and the coming weeks. And, now we're getting a little Flyers and Sixers action going on. So, my plate is full with Philly sports. So I'm excited to talk about them.
Yeah, I was talking to someone at the ball field tonight, and it really is this kind of area of the sports season is probably the best. Wouldn't you say? I mean, now college hoops is starting up too. So you got college football that's hot and heavy. You got NFL. You got NBA, hockey, and you got World Series. There's just not a better time for really good sports.
Yeah, everything comes together, and the best part about it is it's early enough in the season with all this stuff to where we still have a little bit of hope, right? We still have a little bit of hope in our teams. So they're all going on, and we don't have to write them off yet. So this is like the era of hope before we get into the depths of winter.
So I equate it to a flower. That grows in the soil. And it does stuff because when you water it and stuff, the stuff comes up, and whatever the hell that was today. Dude,
what was that? What was that old song back in the day, man? It was like, I think it was the Fat Boys, and it was like, "You talk too much, you never shut up." Like that's what they need to play at these Sirianni press conferences, because he's just less is more, man. When he's on the mic, he's just got to learn less is more. That was just it sounded like a terrible analogy, and I can only imagine what grown men in the locker room were saying.
If he tries to pull that bullshit off to his team, because he's doing it to the press, I got to imagine there's some other analogies.
He said he did it to the team. Yeah, he said he rolled it out there, man, and I can't imagine that it went over well.
I can tell you this off the top of my head. I've been watching sports since the early '80s, and it's been quite a while. He's right up there with probably. There's not many coaches I sat there and said I could probably do a better job than. I have no doubt in my mind I could do it. After the Sunday's game, he came out and they asked him about the defense. He's like, I don't know about the defense. I really don't
he tried to distance himself from it.
Yeah, because they're getting toasted. How bad of a leader is that? But I mean, honestly, he's just like, I don't coach that up. I'd let them do it. I don't know anything about it. You gotta be kidding me.
Crazy. Yeah, and then here's the thing: it's I get he wouldn't have been my guy, right? I wanted McDaniels. I think we talked about that, and Jeff wanted Nick, so here we are, with Nick. But I will say that I am disappointed in how the team has gone public so quickly about some of the scheme and some of the stuff. You can't have players out there talking about the scheme and undercutting the coaches. And it just seems like a real toxic environment already. And, they're young coaches and they're learning on the fly. And I don't think that they're very good, but they're going to need time to figure it out. And you can't have the leaders out there talking to the press, saying they don't get paid to cover screen passes and ridiculous stuff like that. You get paid to listen to the coach, and that's what they should be doing. So I was really disappointed the organization didn't kind of come out and nip that stuff in the bud, because that's just going to fester all year. Because if the team sees the leaders doing it, then they're going to think that that's appropriate and that's okay. And it's really not.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand your point, and it's 100% accurate. But then when you think about what type of leadership this team has, and from the top down, it's totally caustic, and it's just a terrible environment. It's zero leadership, like you say. You've heard the stories. You've read The Athletic before the season came out, how Howie runs his ship and what Jeff wants to do, criticizing, grading his coaches' plays on Tuesdays. Like no other owner does that. And it's bad leadership results in bad leadership, right? So I mean, it starts from top and trickles down, and to that point, I'm almost okay that the players come out. I mean, they're they're getting toasted, right? They're getting ripped.
Oh yeah,
Every which way. They want to play defense. They want to run downhill. They're not allowed. They're telling them to sit back and play this damn stupid soft. And I mean, I couldn't stand the coverage on Sunday, but I'll tell you, Jonathan Vilma couldn't just get every chance he got. He's like, why aren't they blitzing? Why are they double? Why don't they bring single high down? Why don't they get in the box? Why don't they just do something different?
Yeah,
because what they're doing didn't work.
The scheme's not good, and he's going through it, right? He's got to figure it out, and I don't know whether he'll figure it out or not. But I do know that, like, listen, those guys got to go downhill all year last year and couldn't stop a nosebleed, right? So,
Yeah.
like, let's not act like he has all these pieces to work with on that defense.
He doesn't.
So, I think it takes time whenever you have a new coach, and I'm not here caping for Gannon, but like, I think that whenever you have a new coach, it takes time to get the roster in order to where you get the kind of players that are going to be successful in that scheme. And, but regardless of the results, I think what Fletcher Cox and come by him going out public, he takes a situation where he's right and he makes himself wrong. And that's what you can't do. You know what I mean? Like he might be right, but now he's wrong because he went to the media about it. And, it's everybody loses respect for you that way. So, but anyway, there's a ton going on, and we're seeing it reflected in the market. Eagles only 3-point favorites against the winless Detroit Lions this weekend.
Well, let me tell you, and let's close out the gap that was, Las Vegas. And one thing I wanted to ask you before we jump to that Lions game, and you're right, we'll look at the market, is remember me and you were texting when the NFL schedule came out? Let's go to Vegas, baby. Let's make this happen.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, $5,000 back in my pocket, right? Imagine spending it to see that, and I'm sure it was still a fun time and a great, awesome. That place looked great. We represented well, but I'm kind of glad we didn't go.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had fun there in that environment. I'm getting crushed like that. And it didn't even look like the weather was great from what I saw. But, I mean, I'm sure people went out there and had a blast. You cannot have a bad time in Vegas. But I was happy to be watching it from my couch. I'll get out to Vegas later. And, the Eagles just 30 unanswered points, not good enough.
No. We'll do the takeover one of these years for sure. Last question before we go into the Lions. To me, and I know it looks like, and it's real apparent when the quarterback goes 31 to 34, second best completion percentage ever for over 30 passes attempted in a game, clean in the pocket, never sacked. Yeah, so they're just up and down the field once again, punting only in the fourth quarter. I still will contend to you that the offense is just as big of a problem as the defense. I'm just curious, is it equal blame? I mean, what's your point? Because right now, Hurts, what's he scored? 2 touchdowns every fourth quarter? Nothing else before that?
Yeah, it's garbage time. And that's really, what it is with the Eagles offense. Yeah, I think they're both pretty poor units. And I think, overall, and listen, I got news for you. They're not that great on special teams either. And they're playing a team in the Lions that is very good in special teams. So they're going to be at a disadvantage there on Sunday. But yeah, they're not good anywhere. And, the offense they're kind of blaming Hurts now. And I'm sure that some of that's warranted, but there's just a lot of issues with that offense in general. Again, we went into the season, if the offensive line can stay healthy and stay upright, we got one of the best offensive lines in the NFC. And, we've had missing pieces all year, right? With Lane Johnson and his situation and Brandon Brooks getting injured again. And, we got backups in there and the play calling really doesn't put them in the best position to win. So it's just messy on both sides of the ball.
All right. So it is the Detroit Lions, and it is, in my opinion, they're Super Bowl. I mean, this team, is probably licking their chops seeing an opponent that's, equal to that, to a standpoint on the other side of the field, one that they can definitely win. This coach, Dan Campbell, is an absolute nut job, but he's one that his players will rally around, fight for. They are not giving up at 0-7. Last week, they pulled off 2 fake punts and onside kick. They were trying anything they could to bring Jared Goff home with a W against the Rams team, and they competed hard for 60 minutes. This game scares me, and I think the betting market is kind of showing that too. there were weeks where I thought the Eagles were getting a little respect in the market. I even think last week they got too much respect versus a Raiders team that was sitting at 4-2. I thought 3 was a light line, and I honestly thought it was telling me something. This week it's telling me a little more that the Lions are getting more of the respect, and the Eagles are starting to be called out for what they really are. And that's a bad football team. So I'm curious where you think the 3.5 scares me a little bit. If it gets out to 3.5, maybe the market does like the Eagles. But if it stays 3 or under 3, I think this is a Lions line.
Yeah, I think you are going to see some movement on the Eagles here. I think the overall consensus in the market is the line is a little bit too short. And I'm not sure I agree 100%. I think at 3, I think the Eagles probably a solid bet because, they are better than the Lions. But I just don't think – I think the market's real slow to kind of figure out – they're not that much better than the Lions, if we're being honest. Now, the Lions are they've been miserable, right? So they've been, they're probably 27th or below in almost every major statistic. Like you look at, whether it's DVOA, EPA per play, however you want to look at it, like they're at the bottom on both sides of the ball. So their offense pretty bad, their defense very bad. But the Eagles aren't much better. Like the Eagles are outside of the top 20 in a lot of those same key statistics. And, one of the things that I look at is success rate and net success rate. And Detroit's about 4% better than the Eagles there. Now, when I do those numbers, I pull out the plays and where the win probability is less than 10 or over 90%. So if a team has an over 90% chance of win, I pull out that garbage time, those stats there. And that kind of eats up a lot of the Eagles' success, right? So you kind of see it balanced out. The Eagles are the only team that they, in net success rate, during that win probability, the only teams they're better than are the Jets and Houston. So 30th ranked in the NFL. So that just kind of tells you, because I feel like success rate is a good tool to evaluate the Eagles because of how many penalties they get. We talked about this. That's a lot of 1st and 20, a lot of 3rd and long, and they're able to get a lot of yards, but they're really not getting to where they need to get, right? They still end up punting and they still end up doing those things. So I think because they're the most penalized team in the NFL, and some of those things kind of skew the metrics from a yardage perspective. So I think that's why you see a lot of people just slow to realizing that the Eagles are not an average team. They're a below average team. But it just so happens they're playing a really bad Lions team. So I think they should be able to take advantage.
Yeah, I mean, so with Miles Sanders out, though, don't you think that, this line, while it may look short, also is, a little bit scary to touch when they're losing some of their key offensive pieces? I mean, I like Gainwell. I know you like Gainwell. Boston Scott can always be a filler. But if you were going to take advantage of this Lions team and that, the quarterback struggles to really stretch the field, the running game I thought was going to be a key this week. And can it really still perform without Miles Sanders?
I think it can if they call the plays. But that's kind of, like, are they going to dial up enough runs to where it makes it matter? You know what I mean? And I think one of the keys, like going into this game, is going to be the defense, and are they going to kind of, be a little more aggressive and be able to get to Jared Goff? But from a betting perspective in this game, I think the plays on the total. I think this is going to be an under game. I think it's going to be low scoring, kind of slugfest kind of thing, and that's kind of game that Dan Campbell and Detroit wants to drag teams into because they don't have the offensive firepower to compete with a lot of the teams in the NFL. But they do. This is a receiving core, one of the few receiving cores in the NFL that the Eagles can actually match up and play man against, right? Like they don't have great weapons. So our corners, and our secondary, those guys can cover those guys, right? So they should be able to match up pretty well against them. And I think that frees up people up front to where you can do some stunts, you can do some blitzes if Gannon chooses to get more aggressive, like everybody's kind of banging the drum for. But, to your question about the line, like, playing aside, I think that the 3.5 might be fair, but I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole because for the reasons I discussed with the Eagles, this is a team that is 30th in net success rate. So I can't lay 3.5 points. I can't be on the other side of 3 on the road with a team that performs that badly, that really has, failed to demonstrate the ability to kind of win games, with a new coaching staff. So not going to lay the other side of 3 to 3.5 with the Eagles. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole because, you have the other things too. You have the penalties, and we talked about the special teams advantage that Detroit's going to have in the game. All those things play into it to where it's like, hey, if I could get the Eagles under the 3, I might be likely to place a wager there. But at 3.5, probably wouldn't touch it. I think the play is on the under.
Yeah, I think you're right. The key in the Eagles wins this year, and that's why I'm with you. 10-foot, 20-foot, I might even get further away, Pole. But
there are better ways to make a dollar on Sunday than betting on the Eagles.
There are stay away games, but I mean, it's simply put as this: in the 2 Eagles wins, the opposing quarterbacks had a pass rating of 58. That was Sam Darnold, Matt Ryan. You see where Sam Darnold is now, and you know what Matt Ryan is. In their losses, 5 of them, the QB rating has been almost 120. These guys are just shredding the Eagles defense. So if your confidence, and you look at Goff actually started the year with 4 straight games upward of 92 QB rating. His last 3 have been 72 and lower. So he's come back a little bit. Maybe he had a little more freedom in his first few games. But really what I think, they got out to big deficits in a couple of them. Actually, Green Bay, they went out to an early lead. But I think we know what Goff is, and it just took the league a little bit more time to just step back and say, all right, we got this with him. So it really, for me, is all factored on how the Eagles defense fares against Goff this week. And if you have confidence that they can stop him and they can put pressure on him, because they didn't put any on Carr. Zero sacks, 5 rushes total. Or pressures. That it was embarrassing. And that's where the key to the game and betting is for me. Our line against Goff.
Yep. Yeah, they have to pressure him because, people are going to be able to get open in the NFL. Now, that being said, like, the Eagles secondary, I mean, we have to do a better job in coverage, right? Like, eventually you got to make a play on the ball and at least, break something up. But we saw that Vegas attack the linebackers in coverage with the tight end, which we knew they were going to do. That's kind of a big staple of our offense. And, with Detroit having Hockenson, was Hockenson healthy for this game?
I think he's back. Yeah.
He is back. Okay. With them, if they have Hockenson and he's ready to go, it could be trouble for the Eagles linebackers. They're going to have to figure out a way to get pressure on Goff and to take away that safety net because they're going to watch the tape and they're going to realize that that's how you attack this Eagles defense.
Yeah. And the only way, and you make a great point about the over under, and again, getting back to where you think the value is, you as the better, because we can only lead you there. I'm not going to give you the pick on this game because it's a stay away from me. Is the under. If you think this game can play to an under, I think it does play a lot more value for the Eagles. Their win at Carolina, obviously, what was that? It was some 18-15 or
20-18, I think. Yeah.
21-18, 32-6 in the opener. Even the game against San Fran that we all look back in and understand they should have won 17-11. So Eagles' best chance is to really keep this one under, get the pressure on Goff. If this thing keeps creeping up a little bit, maybe there's some value. I would look at the money line. I know that sounds crazy as the line goes up. I know money line actually goes up, but it gives me a little more confidence. But I just got to stay away.
Yeah, I can't lay any points with this Eagles team the way they're performing now. And that doesn't mean they can't turn around. Like, this is the perfect get-right game if they want to make a move. Again, it's another week where it seems like the team's focused on all the wrong things. And listen, this is a desperate Lions team. We saw them last week throw everything at the Rams. Like, they were doing fake punts. They're doing all, they're trying everything they can. So they're going to get everything, the Eagles, on Sunday. I think they're the better team. I'm hoping they show it. Can't lay the 3.5 though.
Yeah, Swift is still a good player. There's a lot. They still got to show up. Now, let me ask you, the news this week, last point on the Eagles before we flip over the 2 other teams playing. Joe Flacco gets traded over to the New York Jets after Zach Wilson goes down with an MRI or MCL sprain, I'm sorry. And kind of cheap hit. But anyway, New York needs a quarterback. Flacco goes there, opens up a spot for Minshew now to be dressed on game days. I'm just asking for a friend. Any chance we see Minshew mania here?
I mean, I think there's a great chance. I think this is kind of how he's playing all along, and I think it's a horrible one. Like, I think that it's completely like I'm very
He's better than
confident
her.
that Gardner Minshew, right? But it doesn't matter because like
I know.
we know what he is, and that's kind of the thing is like you're not winning a Super Bowl with Gardner Minshew ever.
No.
And you might not with Jalen Hurts either, but you at least owe him this season in the sense that he just went through the blender of the schedule. He just went through Tampa, he went through KC, he went through all these tough teams. And now that the schedule softens up, they want to give the reins to somebody else so they can look good. It's just not fair, and it's not equal, and it doesn't do the team any good going to the future because the worst case scenario is Minshew plays these trash teams like the Jets and the Giants and all these New York teams, wins a couple games, and then we don't use a quarterback on these first-round picks when we don't think Jalen Hurts is the answer, and we go into next year with Minshew and we take all year finding out that he's not the guy, and now we're really back at square one, and we've really set ourselves 2 years behind the rebuild. So if Hurts isn't the guy, it's got to be Matt Carroll, Sam Howell, one of those guys in the draft.
Yeah, and I'm good with that. And Minshew's not the guy. I got you, but for me to even have any entertainment this season, I need some Minshew mania. Like I'm done with this Hurt stuff. I'm so far done. The guy cannot play. Like
well, neither can Minshew, but
how? Yeah, how? I just got it.
Here's the thing, though. It only costs you a 6th-round pick to get Minshew, so there's no value in Minshew. Like there's no. But if Hurts plays well in the second half, and you do decide to move on, and you do get a call, and it makes sense, you might be able to bolster his trade value. But
there's enough.
I think that I am very comfortable going into next season with a rookie quarterback that we get at the top of the draft, and Jalen Hurts is the backup. I think that's probably the best direction going forward.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. I just
and Minshew.
Yeah, see, we'll see. I'm not against a Minshew. I know what Minshew is. Obviously, I think me and I think the scary part about Minshew is Coy Detmer. It's AJ Feely. It's him performing a little bit well enough to fool this fan base that we got to start. No, we know he's not. I'm with you.
I know, but
I'm with you.
This is the year. This is the year for the rebuild. This is the year for the future because you have these first-round picks, and you can't go into next year after having all that draft capital with Gardner Minshew as your quarterback.
Nope, can't do it. Won't do it. Hopefully, but we'll see. I do think he plays at some point. I'm convinced.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
You just and the worst part is you're going to see some completions. Me like that's a quarterback. I told you could play. But we'll cross that bridge when it happens. Hey, let's talk about one team that's hitting the ice tonight. That's the Philadelphia Flyers. They're out in Edmonton making a early season West Coast trip. Now, listen, Edmonton 5-0 on the season, red hot, looking like the best team. Them and the Florida Panthers right now, really looking solid. And we know teams start hot. It's not the team now that may finish this way at the end of the year, but they are third in the league in goals. Connor McDavid leads the league in points with 13. His partner there on the scoring line, Leo Draisaitl. I always mess up his last name.
Draisaitl, I think. Yeah.
Draisaitl. Yeah, I know. It's Dreidel. I always mess it up, but hey, he's pumping an 11. They're really just playing some good hockey. And the problem with the Flyers right now is, look, 2-1's good. But the defense still looks to be a problem as they're bottom 5 in the league in expected goals against per 60 minutes. They're letting up high-quality shots. Carter Hart's actually playing well. Offense is putting pucks in the net. I'm worried about the defense, man. And when you go out to Edmonton and you play an offense like that, I actually think it's a bad matchup. Both teams coming off multiple days of rest, too. So both will be, pretty fresh. I heard what's his name's not playing tonight? The defense.
No Ellis.
Yeah.
No Ellis. Yeah, it's bad news, man. It's bad news for the Flyers.
I think this is dangerous I don't like them in this spot tonight. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna watch them, crack a beer, and avoid the game from a betting perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you can play the over at 6.5. You get that at -130. I think that's probably the best play for a Flyers fan. When you look at the Tony checking in, yeah, when you look at the money line, you got the Flyers +160, and then you got Edmonton -185 for a reason. Like I said, Edmonton's explosive offense is just a real bad matchup for a Flyers team now that's missing Ellis. And we're going to find out a lot about Carter Hart tonight. They're going to put him under a lot of pressure. It just the main thing to watch is the power play. Like the Flyers can't take stupid penalties early in this game because, against this power play, it's going to end up, with the lamp being lit plenty of times if they're, going shorthanded against this team. But I just think, Edmonton's offense playing, way too well right now for the Flyers to keep pace. It's a bad spot, first game of, West Coast road trip. They're going out there. I get it. They're well rested, but I think this is a good spot for the Oilers. So Flyers fans, stay away. Just play the over. I think that's the best play at 6.5. I think we're going to see plenty of goals tonight.
Yeah, and I tell you the truth, that's the bet, right? I mean, the Flyers have let up over 6 goals in all 4 of their games. Not over 6, but they're a team combined 6 goals in all 4 of their games. Edmonton has had, I think, 4 out of 5 have gone with a team total over 6. So it's lined up for a high scoring game. Long trip out there without your best defenseman. I like the over. I would play that as well. Maybe we'll even put a little bucket to it later tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Edmonton could get 5 by themselves. So, I think the over is probably in play.
They could, and I think the rest is a key factor there as well. I do think it allows the skaters to have fresh legs and really target practice. But
yeah, now if the Flyers were at full strength in Philadelphia, it might be a different story. But I just think it's a tough spot here.
Yeah, and 6.5 is actually a pretty high over in hockey. But then when you factor in that Edmonton has a 47% success rate on the power play, we all know that Flyers penalty kill has been brutal in the last few years. Good. Yeah, I think and the Flyers actually lead the league or in the top 2 or 3 in penalty minutes so far. So Edmonton's going to get their chances on the power play, and that's lethal. And that's where overs tend to hit. So I'm with you. Let's go over 6.5. Let's look at the Sixers real fast. Drums, I didn't get a chance. Last week, my man rolled 24 karat rolled, checked in.
My man.
And he's kind of bearish a little bit about on the 76ers. I was a little more bullish just because I thought they were being somewhat undervalued in the market because of the Ben Simmons fiasco news. But I did get to see all their games so far. And seeing their collapse against Brooklyn, seeing their get dominated by New York last night, I realize there are some shortcomings on this team, and it's not going to be – I don't think it's going to get fixed quick. While they might have tweaked their bench a little bit, we still got problems with Joel taking up too much space. The shooters, if they're not on, this team's just not good. Seth had a bad night. Great night in OKC. Yeah. Bad night last night, and they go at half down 20 because they were 3 of 15 from threes. If they can't shoot, this team's in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Sixers without Ben Simmons look just like the Sixers with Ben Simmons, which, doesn't say a lot for Ben Simmons either, right? But the issues that this team had against Atlanta in the playoffs were not a product of Ben Simmons' play. Joel Embiid, it's been the same thing with him year after year. It's not Ben Simmons just taking up floor space and causing him to shoot everything from the outside. That's just how he wants to play, and he's going to play the way he wants to play. He's hurt right now, and that is a problem. And it's a problem because it's the same injury from the playoffs last year that obviously has not been addressed yet. And we're going into this season. It's leaking into the season. I just have real concerns with the team. I don't think they're good enough without Simmons, and I don't think they're going to get the Ben Simmons that they got last year, even if he does come back this year, because I just think, mentally he's not going to be where he needs to be. And that kind of stuff impacts your play. Right. So, they can trade him, but they're probably not going to get the type of player that they need back to get back to the number 1 seed, to get back to the Eastern Conference. But right now, my biggest concern is Joel Embiid and that knee. I'm almost questioning is, do you shut him down and just have him have surgery and just try and move on from this point? Because, I don't know why he's playing tennis all summer with the owner when he can't play a full game of basketball. What is it? 4 months later after they got, embarrassed by the Hawks. So, here we are, and this guy can't get up and down the court. So, I don't know. I don't know where to go with this team. I think the market's dead on with them as far as where they stand in the East. I think that until this, these things gets resolved with Embiid and with Simmons, it's going to be hard to figure out really what they are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm now that I got a clearer picture. I had them second or third. I had them 5th or 6th. They'll beat the bad teams. They still are fit enough on defense. Very solid unit. I've loved Tobias so far this year. I think he's taken a bigger role. Feels a little bit more involved. Better floor spacing. He was the best player on the court last night for them. But in the end, they're not going to beat a good Milwaukee team. They're not going to beat a good Brooklyn team. And it's going to be hard against teams like the Knicks who are up and coming. Watch out for Chicago, too.
Chicago, Miami's going to be better. Boston will be better than they were last year, even though they have some issues. Charlotte, right? So
I think they're decent.
It can get crowded. But, really the main thing is this Simmons thing is going to have to work itself out one way or another. But the main thing is Embiid, because that's the reason that they look the way they look is his play is the whole thing. So if he's not able to do the things that they need him to do night in and night out, get down low and bang down there and really play his type of game, then it's a wrap. So if it's going to be a wrap, just have surgery, move on. This should have been done. It should have been done in June, man.
Yeah, I'm so frustrated. Even look at the Brooklyn game, and I've pointed out tens of thousands of times, and as you have, as the game goes on, his post-ups go further and further out that he's almost catching the ball at 3-point line. What postman catches the ball at 3-point line? Yep. He can't be a dominant force. He gets pushed around, and as much as we want to say he's the big man down there, he's got to get a little bit more physical. I know it's crazy to think that guy has to get more physical. He does. And if he can't do it because injuries are limiting him, you have a point. I think it's more, it's the gas in the tank half the time. I don't know, man.
I agree. I think it's a combination of everything, right? So, let's look at it from this perspective, right? We know that this is a player who's had cardio issues, who has, issues staying in shape his entire career, right? And so now we know that his knee is gone. He can't play on this knee. So how much conditioning do you think he's been doing in the offseason if he can't get up and down the court? And it's game 3, game 4. You know what I mean? So he wasn't doing any conditioning. So what's this going to look like in the playoffs when we really need him? And that's the concern is that, physically he's not ready to play. So they should shut it down and do whatever they need to do to get him right. The window's small, but he's a big man. We got 1-2 years, maybe 3 if we stretch it, but
3 is only based upon monitoring his minutes. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. But they gotta get this knee. This knee just looks horrendous so far this season, and I laugh, but it's not funny because this is bad.
0 field goals last night in the first half. 0. And what New York did? It was an interesting strategy. They ran double teams on him as soon as he caught it. They just said, all right, go ahead. Yeah, and then they know how at times inefficient he is at passing out of double teams. And
Doc said he's Tom Brady now. Doc said he's Tom Brady. So he said free through the pass the Tom Brady. He's Tom Brady. But yeah. Thanks, Doc.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, there's still going to be a team that competes in battles, but
Well, they got Detroit coming up.
We
So.
started this year with the talk. It's early season. We got hope. We'll go back to that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. We got Detroit. We're gonna whoop up on the Pistons. So we're
good. Let's go. Yeah, and I don't think Cade Cunningham's playing, so that's a good thing too. I think he's not coming back. He just started.
Drummond revenge game, right?
I actually like Drummond. Did you see Dwight Howard getting a fight with Anthony Davis the other day?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a clown. Like, people are like, "Oh, I'm so mad we lost Dwight." I was like, get him out of here. Like, he would get a T anytime he stepped on the court.
Yeah, he would get stupid penalties and stuff like that. Yeah, stupid fouls or whatever.
Goofy. Yeah. Like, Drummond's fine. He's gonna be all right. Like, he's a 2-time All-Star. He's fine. He's not the problem. The rest of the team is.
Yeah, but the
Korkmaz isn't the problem. That dude's bowling.
Well, he is, but he couldn't cover an orange cone.
Yeah, that's okay. I just need to put it in the bucket.
He's like the matador. He's like, hey, go to the lane.
No. Yeah, but he got a steal last night and went for a breakaway. He'll get those pickpocket steals, but that's about it. Yeah,
he can't be starting.
Yeah. But. All right, brother, we're gonna kick this out, and then we're going to move on to Saturday morning betting for breakfast, where we do a big college football show over on the Sharp app, just pumping it out here. We love to talk the gambling angles as it is for every sport, but Saturday we focus on college football. So if you're looking for more from us, D. Gleck and X Drumheller, catch us there Saturday mornings, 10:30, right? We kick it off at 10.
10 sharp, man. Baby.
Getting earlier and earlier, but that's good. Good for me. I like beers at 10. Anyway, hey, let's see if we talk next week about a win in Detroit. If not, we might just have to drink a lot more. But hey, bud, it's been awesome. Thanks.
Definitely, man.
And we'll do it next week. Philly Bets, Heat Ratio. Follow us, YouTube, Twitter, and as always, hit us up. D. Gleck, X Drumheller. We're out for tonight. Until next week. Have a good one.